Will the clerk please call the roll?
Miller,
Here.
Eckhart,
Here.
Benson,
Here.
Melton,
Here.
Valencia,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Stelling,
Here.
Hannaford,
Here. Item number 4 is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All of the following items, which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at City Council meetings, will be approved by one vote of the Council. Any member of the Council desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items. Item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 2nd, 2016. And item B, approval of claims in the amount of $139,195.66 and payroll expenses of $76,047.36. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Miller and a second by Councilman Fisher to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Valencia,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Item 6 is reports from boards and officers. A, Library Board meeting from May 3rd, 2016. Councilmember Valencia.
The library board did meet on the 3rd. Discussion surrounding the current year budget and how the library will finish out on that. There was also some discussion regarding the FY17 budget and how that's going to be put together. Of course, there was an update on the library roof project, which I know we'll be discussing later tonight. Also, the enrollment beginning for the summer reading program. That is always a significant program the library has every year that serves a great many of our youth. And so a very important program that will be beginning here very shortly.
Does the council have any questions for Mr. Valencia? Thank you, Steve. Item B is the Alva Arena Committee meeting from May 3rd, 2016, and special meeting from May 10th, 2016. Joe, what you got?
All I have is what was on the agenda. At the Arena Committee meeting on the 3rd, they did review minutes of a special meeting, discuss updating their bylaws, and discuss the scope of the project. And on the 10th, they again had an update on the bylaws, a treasurer's report, which was an action item, and then they did get a report from the subcommittee working with Fifer Complex Designs on a proposal of the complex. I do not know what the outcome of that proposal was. I have not had an opportunity to talk to our representative on that committee or had anything from him at this time.
Any questions from the council regarding the Arena Authority? Thank you, Joe Don. Mr. Miller, will you please give the Finance Committee report?
Earlier this evening, Finance Committee was meeting over in Joe Don's office. We went over the typical purchase orders and claims, April cash balances. We had a discussion on the update of the water rate conversion project. Still discussing that further. We discussed some alternative means of revenue, possibly for the future. Just initial discussions, trying to look for ways to offset the decreasing sales tax. The budget for next year, we're looking at about a 1% decrease in revenue over this past year. So we'll be close to what we had to work with this year. However, struggling to find ways to take care of capital improvement projects that are much needed. Some of which can't be put off any further. So we are looking at some alternative means of trying to finance some of these projects. But we are prepared to bring anything to council at this time. So, with that, I answer any questions anybody might have.
Does council have any questions for Mr. Miller? All right, thank you, Wes. As far as the mayor's report is concerned, I'll note the work that went in by I saw board members as well as staff out helping with the baseball and tournaments this weekend at the rec park. Big crowd, people out there. I'd say we probably had in the neighborhood of, maybe 1,500 visitors to town for that event. I think 30-some teams were present, so it was a good weekend. The weather held out for us and cooperated, so that was good. Other than that, I received a letter from Texas Tech University that they're going to be doing some, research work. They're going to be sending a survey to public officials regarding the implementation of local rural water conservation policies. I will keep you posted of that as it becomes more relevant, I suppose. When I get their survey, we'll see what it says. But that would conclude my report. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody would have. City Business Manager's report. Mr. Dunham.
Well, first of all, I would like to point out that we do have a new face in the room with us tonight. Miss Angelica Brady back here at the clerk station is the new admin assistant. She's taken over the position that was vacated a couple of months ago. She will be doing the minutes of these meetings from henceforth. I'd like for everybody to take the opportunity to welcome Angelica to our family here at the City of Alva. We're excited to have her here. I'd like to start off with, as far as financial would be with the financial report. And just kind of a brief overview, our cash position has actually increased a little bit from March 31, increased about $50,000 at the end of April from the end of March. The revenue, the general fund operations through the end of April had collected $5.3 million and either had expended or obligated $4.2. This includes the transfers to either the hospital, the AED, the street and alley fund, or the cemetery, which was at $2.8 million. These transfers are either required by ordinance or by our budget. If we're looking at the revenues that finance our operations for such things as fire, police, ambulance, park maintenance, and other services that we have about $4.2 million worth of collections. Operationally, when we compare the revenues with the expenses, we see that we are about $3,377 as an operational deficit. The utility fund, we've got collections of $2.2 million and expenditures at $2.2 million. They are operating very closely together. This includes transfers to the general fund at $861,000. Operationally, if we're looking at it and we compare expenses to revenues, we've got a deficit of about $590,000. This deficit is explained very easily over the projects that we have going on. We have over $700,000 worth of water projects going on alone, and we have covered most of that, all but $590,000 of those those projects. Other fiduciary funds, such as the airport, cemetery, and the ARC, combined, they've collected $1.2 million, and they've obligated $2.1 million. This deficit of $887,000 is made up from transfers or reserve expenditures at the airport. Airport has roughly $700,000 worth of projects going on right now. Overall, the city looks like it's going to collect about $10 million, and we've either obligated or spent $12 million. When we compare this to last year, we'll see that we've got about a 22% decrease in revenues and about a 2% decrease in expenditures. As far as the budget is concerned, we are working through that very closely at this time. That's dominated my time over the past couple of weeks. Currently, we have about an $867,000 deficit that we have to make up for it to have a balanced budget. The projects we have going on, our TSET grant, the replacement of the addition of lights in the Hatfield Park. We've received all of our merchandise. We've contracted with Northwest Electric to perform the installation. They should be doing this installation during the month of June. We've got our water projects for the automatic meter plot project. First of all, is in its final stages. Currently, there are 3 meters which need to be replaced. 2 of these meters are at the hospital and the nursing home, and there are major concerns with that. We weren't able to schedule those replacements until Wednesday the 25th. So next week we should be wrapping up that project altogether. Our Young and 8th Street project, I know each one of you have probably had a few phone calls about this, as have I. They are not finished with the project. We do have a punch list that they are working through, which does include the addition of additional sod for areas that they didn't get completely sodded. There's still some additional cleanup that's got to be done, but they are not finished with that project completely. We have not signed off on it. I know that each one of you have probably had several calls about yards which need to be mowed, because I have had some from customers as well as you. I wanted to give a little bit of an update on that. Currently, we have posted over 43 yards to date since summer started. Of those, 38 of them have been mowed. 5 letters have been sent out with compliance dates of the 22nd of May. Work orders will be sent out. If these are not mowed by the 22nd, work orders will be sent to Public Works to have them mowed. Currently, there are 6 structures that have been determined to be a nuisance. 5 of those have been demolished. 1 is in the process of being demolished. And then we have 6 more that we've identified for demo. Letters for those 6 go out in June. On the 13th of May, I was notified, in case you get a phone call, we are taking precautions on it, of a lot of musticle on the ARC property. Currently, the plan is that we will spray that to kill it, and then the fire department will do a controlled burn to burn the area and get rid of any seed. The airport hangar project was finishing up. That was the airport hangar project that we bid out in earlier and have reevaluated. That new bid package should go in newspapers by the end of this week. We'll advertise it again for 2 weeks with a response time and an evaluation time. we'll be able to hopefully bring back a bid to the airport committee and have a proposal for that to get completed. On May 4th, I attended a city manager meeting in Oklahoma City with the topic of hospitals in peril. There have been a number of municipal hospitals across the state that have closed recently or are on the verge of being closed, and this informal group of city managers has met to see what we can do as municipalities to try to help our hospitals remain viable in our rural communities. Currently, we are still searching for lifeguards. We are still searching for EMT plus an ambulance director. 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, Chad Campbell turned in his resignation to us. We'll have a personnel meeting tonight, immediately following this meeting. We've got a recreation board and a tourism board on the 18th. I'll have a Oklahoma Tax Commission liaison meeting on the 20th. Alva Planning Commission meeting will be on May 4th. Oh, no, that's not right. Sorry. We'll have a Planning Commission meeting on the 31st, and then we'll have a training session. I'll have a training session in Garmin on the 3rd. And Council and Mayor, that would be my report at this time. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Does the council have any questions for Mr. Dunham? Thank you, Joe Don. And welcome, Angelica. And thank you, Lisa, for stepping in. Item 7 is discussion and action on the purchase of a new library roof system installed by Flying Out Roofing, Inc. in the amount of $47,083.
Well, currently, we are in the need of replacing our library roof system. We bid this system out, a couple of months ago, and the bids ranged from $25,000 for a spray-on seal to $99,900 for similar construction as to what's being proposed here. Flying Out Roofing is able to do a DuraTough 60 mil product that would be installed and take care of the current issues that we have at the library. Right now, I think, and Sandra can correct me if I'm wrong, that we are not having any major leakage like we did when it was snowing and melting, but it is still leaking some and in need of replacement. There were some issues about Flying Out Roofing, whether or not they were registered with the Oklahoma Construction Industry Board. I have checked. They are registered, and they do carry a commercial roofing endorsement. The Parks and Building Committee has reviewed this product in the past and recommends moving forward with the installation of this roofing system with Flying Out. If the contract is awarded tonight, Flying Out will be able to start for the first week in June and anticipate being complete with the project in a couple of weeks, barring any extreme weather issues between now and then. Currently, there is $30,000 in the budget. This leaves a shortfall of about $17,000, which would come from other projects which are not going to be completed this budget year. So we would take money away from another project that's not going to get completed and move it into this budget, move it into this item to allow for this purchase. The Park and Building Committee can chime in if I've forgotten anything, or Sandra is certainly more than welcome to speak. Have I forgotten anything? But I'd be willing to try to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Does council have any questions, or is anybody ready to make a motion to approve?
I move we approve the purchase of a new library roof system installed by Flying Out Roofing Incorporated in the amount of $47,083.
Joey?
No.
Okay. Have a motion by Mr. Valencia, second by Mr. Melton to purchase a new library roof system installed by Flying Out Roofing, Inc. in the amount of $47,083. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Valencia,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
They will be called, that'll be the first phone call I'll make in the morning.
It'll be good to finally get that done. Item 8, remarks and inquiries by citizens. Public comments will be limited, 2 minutes per speaker. Speaker must identify himself or herself. Are there any comments from our attendees? Thank you. Item 9, remarks and inquiries by council members. Council members have anything to add?
Yes. Your Honor, Joe Don, you mentioned that the bid packets will go out on Friday for the airport
The
hangar.
advertisement will go out.
The advertisement?
Yes.
The board has not discussed what the changes to that were. I believe that went to a committee, but was never brought to the board.
Okay.
Two members of that two-person committee may have looked at that, presented it, but it was never sent back to the board for approval.
I thought that it was, I thought that it had been approved for me to update and advertise to get bids back in.
The board has not seen what that committee came back with.
And, I mean, we've got a different, I mean, we can bring it back to the board, but and that, I don't have an issue with that. But my recollection of what the vote was that they had authorized me to prepare a new bid document and get it advertised and get submitted in more generic in fashion, not
For the same building?
for the same type of construction, the same number of hangars, the same square footage, and the same general construction. But to remove some of the specificity that was in the previous document to allow for a wider range of possible bidders, and for the city to be the general contractor. I can I'll be happy to review the minutes, and if I'm wrong, we'll change it. It won't go out if it's wrong, but that was my recollection of the vote, and to keep it to try to get that project moving forward, to get a bid in, hopefully by the next airport board meeting. Yes.
Mayor, I just want to thank Joe Don and the members of the Parks and Building Committee for their due diligence on the library roof project, and also for exercising some patience, which wound up saving the city many thousands of dollars on that roof replacement, and also to the library staff and the board for their patience in getting this project done.
Thank you.
They've been very patient.
Anything else? All right, we'll close the meeting of the Alva City Council and open the meeting of the Alva Utility Authority. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Miller,
Here.
Melton,
Here.
Benson,
Here.
Eckhart,
Here.
Valencia,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Stelling,
Here.
Hannaford,
Here.
Item 3 is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AUA meetings will be approved by one vote of the authority. Any trustee desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items. Item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 2nd, 2016. And item B, approval of claims in the amount of $114,040.70 and payroll expenses of $22,744.44. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Miller and a second by Councilman Benson to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Valencia,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Okay, we'll close the meeting of the Alva Utility Authority and open the meeting of the Alva Economic Development Authority. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Melton,
Here.
Hannaford,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Stelling,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Valencia,
Here.
Vincent,
Here.
Eckhart,
Here.
Item 3 is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AEDA meetings will be approved by one vote of the board. Any trustee desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items. Item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 2nd, 2016. And item B, approval of claims in the amount of $302,695.314. And payroll expenses of
14 cents.
14 cents. Okay. And payroll expenses of $5,378.18. To be clear, that is claims in the amount of $302,695.14.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Miller, second by Dr. Hannaford to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Valencia,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Stelling.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all. We are adjourned.